Looking at this recording, you could believe that something like supernatural powers really exist. Surveillance cameras generally record curious and strange situations. Today, we will present you with 10 crazy moments that were captured on CCTV. You can expect, among other things, probably the dumbest thieves in the world, a cute animal helper, and a very sporty janitor. Later on, we will also reveal the explanation to why the cars in the clip seem to have blown up for no reason. So, make sure to stay tuned here at Wonderlane. Let's start with number 10, and a security camera video which helped a janitor to unexpected fame. The janitor wanted a change of pace when he was doing his job in the gym at Liberty Benton Middle School, an elementary school in the US state of Ohio. So, he took a little break from work and attempted to play basketball. Since normal throws were probably too boring for him, the janitor stood in the middle of the field and threw with his back to the basket. In fact, he managed to do the unbelievable and sank his shot on the first try. The man cheered and could hardly believe it himself. Since hardly anyone believes such a throw when you tell them about it, the janitor was lucky that a surveillance camera recorded everything. The school's principal published the video on Twitter, where it received hundreds of thousands of views and was very proud of his employee. We continue with number 9, and a curious video that was recorded by a surveillance camera in a hotel in Sri Lanka. 4 years ago, in the middle of the night, when all other guests and hotel staff were asleep, a very unusual guest appeared at the reception desk. A huge elephant curiously sneaked into the hotel and looked around a bit at first. Just like any other guest, the elephant then went quite neatly to the reception of the hotel, where, unfortunately, no one helped him to check in. Afterwards, the animal didn't seem to know what it was supposed to do in the hotel, and why it was there. Therefore, the elephant trotted around for a while and then left the hotel again. You can hardly imagine how surprised the staff must have been the next morning when they saw the surveillance video. Let's move on to number 8, and a video that a traffic camera captured 7 years ago in the US state of Boston. When you think of footage of drunks on the party circuit, you don't actually think of good deeds and helpful actions. The drunks in this video, however, are completely different. The two young men here were obviously trying to straighten out a bent bike stand on the street, using all of their strength to do so. But even if you like to overestimate yourself after a few beers, they also realized at some point that they are simply not strong enough to bend a metal bike stand straight again. But instead of just giving up, the two initiated passers-by into their plan, and soon they were actively supported by some other partygoers. With their combined efforts, the young men finally succeeded in actually repairing the bicycle stand. On number 7 is a curious recording that YouTuber Jim Browning made last year. Jim Browning is known for busting scammers in his videos, i.e. turning the tables and convicting computer scammers who want to rip him off. In the past, Jim has often succeeded in finding out who is behind the anonymous scammers and putting an end to their schemes. In May of last year, Jim was able to strike a major blow against an organized group of scammers from India. When the fraudsters, who were earning $3 million a year, were connected to his PC, Jim was able to not only trace their whereabouts, but also to hack into their building's surveillance cameras. The BBC station produced a broadcast with the footage, and the scammers were arrested as a result. Let's continue with number 6, and the video from the beginning. At an intersection in China, cars suddenly took off magically and seemed to dance. What looks so mysterious here has a very simple explanation though. There was a steel cable on the road, and when a city cleaning vehicle drove over it, it got tangled up in the cleaning brushes, pulled taut, and lifted the other cars into the air. On number 5 is a curious video from a surveillance camera in Zambia. It is well known that shoplifters often manage to steal larger items without anyone noticing, but what this woman managed to do in an electronics store is record-breaking. The woman with the long skirt simply took a complete flat-screen TV from a table. While other customers were standing just a few meters away from her, she tucked the TV under her skirt, wedged it between her legs, and then waddled away inconspicuously. In fact, the brazen thief then managed to leave the store unnoticed. Afterwards, the shopkeeper published the video in order to get clues about the woman, but until this day, day, they have still not been able to track her down. Let's move on to number 4, and a nightclub operator who just had enough about 15 years ago. His guests were constantly misbehaving outside the door of the Pizzazz nightclub in England and engaging in adult activities. So, he started to publish pictures of those people taken by his surveillance camera in an internet forum. Under the title Peeps from Sunderland, the club owner filled a whole forum page. The pictures show guests having fun next to a dumpster, some of them even with more than one partner, and others several days in a row with new partners. But the publication of the recordings in the online forum actually had an effect, because when the local newspaper also reported on it, the curious activities in front of the nightclub suddenly stopped, according to the owner. Let's continue with number 3, and a mystery that 72-year-old Stephen McKeers from England faced 2 years ago. The pensioner was beginning to doubt his own sanity when he noticed that small objects in his garden shed were repeatedly lying in a different place from where he had put them down. After a neighbor installed a surveillance camera for him, Stephen was able to solve the mystery. What could be seen on the videos was truly unbelievable. During the night, a small mouse came and rearranged small objects every evening from about midnight until 2:30 a.m. The little tidying helper tirelessly put screws, clamps, and other metal objects into a box, and that for over a month. The pensioner was thrilled and named the mouse Metal Mickey. Moving on to number 2, a shot of a driver at a gas station in the US caused a lot of laughter on Twitter. The footage shows a woman who is visibly having a hard time refueling her car. After the woman realized that the tank opening was on the other side of the car and she therefore could not refuel, she parked her car around. But obviously she didn't think too hard and parked the wrong way around again. In fact, the woman had to actually get out of her car to realize that she was the wrong way around again. Since all good things come in threes, the woman actually managed to park a third time in such a way that she could not reach the tank opening with the hose. Finally, she found the right position, and the driver who had filmed the spectacle along with his companion celebrated loudly. Let's move on to number 1, and probably the dumbest thieves ever seen. 3 years ago, a store owner in Belgium experienced what every businessman fears. After a couple of young men came into his e-cigarette store and initially greeted him in a friendly manner, it turned out that they were actually there to rob him. The situation quickly escalated when the men suddenly started pocketing e-cigarettes and accessories. When the thieves then tried to get their hands on the store's cash register, the store owner had a brainwave. He told the thieves that he only had a little money in the cash register and made them a curious proposal. He told the thieves that they should come back later in the day when he had more money in the cash register. That way, it would be more profitable for the thieves. The thieves actually agreed to this proposal, left the cash register untouched, and walked out of the store. Of course, the store owner called the police immediately after the robbery. They told him that they did not expect the robbers to come back. The store owner, on the other hand, disagreed. He was sure that the robbers were that stupid that they would really stick to the agreement and come back to take the contents of the cash register. Although the police did not believe the store owner, a couple of officers reluctantly laid into the back room of the store. And in the evening, the entire squad showed up at the store again and were immediately overpowered and arrested by the police. And that's it for our video. Write us in the comments which recording you found the most intense, and we'll see you next time here at Wonderlane.